NBC in 1941 established the first commercial television station in the country, began immediately to expand it into a network. Adding sight to sound, it opened an electronic window, rang up the magic curtain, and ushered you to the first row, to the best seat in the house, your own easy chair.
I'm Calvin Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Larry,
And this is the 1940s podcast on
NBC News. Back with the 1940s podcast. Calvin, tell them what you got.
Well, we got bad news, Gerald. Let me tell you. Viewers sent us in a video today, and it looks like a little bit of war. Let's see what they sent in.
Roll the clip.
Viewer discretion advised.
Shortly before 6 a.m. on Friday, September the 1st, 1939, German forces crossed the border into Poland after a huge aerial and land bombardment. The force and speed of the invasion shook the world and gave the dictionaries a new and terrifying word, blitzkrieg.
And that's the clip.
September 1st, 1939, Germany invades Poland.
German forces bombard Poland on land and from the air, as Adolf Hitler seeks to regain lost territory and ultimately rule Poland. World War II has officially begun. Welcome back. We fast forward a year, me and Gerald over here to the 1940s, and World War II is all set and begun. Germany invades and takes control of Denmark and Norway from April 9th to June 9th. Only a few months and they're moving fast. We've also had news that from May 10th to June 22nd, Germany is starting to use Blitzkrieg, meaning lightning war, to take over much of Western Europe. The war is starting fast and Britain needs a new leader, so on May 30th, Winston Churchill becomes the new British government leader. June 10th, Italy enters the war as a member of the Axis powers. Other countries joining now. And on September 22nd, Germany, Italy, and Japan signed the tripartite pact, creating the Axis alliance. War is happening, folks. War is happening.
In lighter news, July 27th, 1940, Bugs Bunny makes his debut in The Wild Hare.
We got that right up here.
Take a gander. Progressing ahead to 1941, June 22nd, Germany and the Axis powers attack Russia with a huge force of over 4 million troops. Progressing down to December 7th, the Japanese attack the U.S. Navy in Pearl Harbor. The next day, the U.S. enters World War II on the side of the Allies. The attack was intended as a preventive action in order to keep the U.S. Pacific Fleet from influencing the war.
Well, we've also had some other interesting stuff happen in 1941. Here in our own country, January 20th, Franklin Roosevelt was elected to an unprecedented third term. Never seen something like that before. Moving on to March 1941, the comic Captain America made its debut. Me, I'm more of a fan of my Spider-Man guy, but Captain America pretty cool too. Moving down to September 10th, 1941, M&Ms were created. Cheers.
Cheers.
October 31st, 1941, Mount Rushmore sculpture was completed. And in 1941, the first Jeep was created as well. Big year here in America. Oh, and watch this clip. It's Calvin again, and we are now in the year 1942, and let me tell you, war has changed a lot. We're joined by a very special guest tonight, Jed Camelback. Jed,
How we doing?
glad to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Very glad. Jed here, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, years old on the family farm. One day, young Johnny went down by the creek. I left that day, went to the city, went to the industry, went to the factory, and I've been pumping out parts for this war ever since then. Life's been changing.
In better news, 1942, June 4th, the U.S. Navy defeats the Japanese Navy at the Battle of Midway. USA, baby. Also, July 10th, 1942, the Allies invade and take the island of Sicily. USA storming through this war, losing a few people, but you know what? USA, USA, USA. Uncle Sam here. We're now in the year 1943. Once again, the war keeps moving on. Got some new news. Good news, actually. David, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Love to. Around January 18th, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, largest single revolt by the Jews against the Germans, and it was because they didn't want the Germans to take them to the Treblinka extermination camp.
September 3rd, 1943. Also good news, Italy surrenders to the Allies. Once again, go USA. However, Germany helps Mussolini to escape and set up a government in northern Italy. Well, the Germans and the Italians, they're starting to understand what it's like to have the USA on you. But you know what? It's good news for the USA, isn't it? Welcome back. 1944 is the year we're in, and let me tell you, the war is progressing, almost over. 1944, June 6th, D-Day and the Normandy invasion occurs, and the Allied forces invade France and push back the Germans. We have a clip sent in from our friends over there, and let's take a quick look.
In other news, December 16th, the Germans launch a large attack in the Battle of Bulge. They lose to the Allies, sealing the fate of the German army.
Welcome to the year 1945. This is NBC's special segment, as it is halfway between the years 1940 and 1950. This is the prime of the 1945s. This is also our longest section, so here we go. February 19th, the U.S. Marines invade the island of Iwo Jima. After a fierce battle, they capture the island. April 12th, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt dies. He is succeeded by President Harry Truman. God bless him. April 30th, Adolf Hitler commits suicide, as he knows Germany has lost the war. In his bunker while hiding from the Soviets, him and his wife both commit suicide. Hitler took a gunshot to his head as his wife drank acid. Members of Adolf's staff burned the couple, until they could not be recognized, and then they buried them side by side. May 7th, Germany surrenders to the Allies. The German instrument of surrender was a legal instrument that established the armistice, ending World War II in Europe. During the final stages of World War II, the United States conducted 2 atomic bombings against Japan in the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. September 2nd, Japan surrenders to U.S. General Douglas MacArthur and the Allies. And finally, October 24th, the United Nations was founded. The UN was founded in 1945 after World War II to replace the League of Nations. Its purpose was to stop wars between countries and to provide a platform for dialogue. It contains multiple unique organizations to carry out its missions. Now, also, other than the war, March 11th, the first computer was built. ENIAC was built, and computers were to come after this. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this special segment. So, Gerald, welcome back.
How we doing?
Lost you for a little bit, but glad you're back.
Glad to be back.
We're now in the 1946s. January 6th, Ho Chi Minh won the North Vietnamese elections. This will be the start of the Vietnamese War, where the North Vietnamese will fight the United States influenced South Vietnamese. Other than that, pretty short year.
Yep.
Gerald?
Then we move on to 1947, where Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier, and Jackie Robinson joins the Brooklyn Dodgers, becoming the first African American to play Major League Baseball. Ain't that something?
In October 1947, at Muroc Desert Test Center in California, history is made by this aircraft, the XS-1, and its pilot, Captain Charles E. Yeager. This airplane and this pilot are about to be the first ever to fly faster than the speed of sound in level flight. A B-29 will take the XS-1 aloft and launch her at an altitude of about 35,000 feet. Ready. The radar crews are ready too, to do the timing, the only possible method for timing aircraft at extremely high altitudes. There she goes, a big moment in a history-making flight. Now she's approaching the barrier. The speed of sound at 35,000 feet is 660 miles per hour. The really big moment. Through the sound barrier. The first time ever in level flight. For the first time, except in dives, a man has flown an airplane faster than the speed of sound.
As we keep moving along our timeline, we approach 1948, where on March 27th, the Big Bang Theory came into effect.
I love that show.
The widely accepted theory of the creation of the universe is the Big Bang Theory. In 1948, George Gamow proposed that the universe was created in a gigantic explosion of the primeval atom, and that the various elements observed today were produced within the first few minutes of the Big Bang. At that time, the temperature that ranged somewhere near 10 billion degrees helped fuse subatomic particles into what we know now as chemical elements.
What else did they put on our newscast today? Gandhi's assassination occurred on April 25th, and also in the year 1948. And
God bless that man. God bless him.
Did a lot. Gandhi's violent death came just months after the realization of his long sought-after goal, the independence of India from Great Britain. It was a bittersweet victory for Gandhi because along with India's independence came the partitioning of the continent to two separate states, Muslim-based Pakistan and Hindu-based India. Welcome back for the last time, and we are coming at you with our last segment, the year 1949. We're kind of sad that the 1940s are over, but to begin the year, NATO was established, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Also, the Soviet Union developed the atomic bomb. No good, no good. China became communist also in this year, so really, not a good year to begin with. Chip, what do we got else in the world?
Let's see. Well, in August 3rd, the NBA was created, actually. Ain't that something?
No, that cancels out the negative impact of China becoming communist. We have entertainment here in America, folks. Kelvin back, and we just like to give our appreciations to sticking with us through this. And anything to say, Gerald?
Thanks a lot for sticking with us through the program. We'll be back next week with 1950s. Stick with it.
Perfect. Adios.
Stay healthy.